Well, I went to the Chile MTC, so I flew straight there. We actually got lost. We missed our flight going to the Chile MTC, and I was with two other elders, and we were lost in Atlanta. And we called church services, and they pretty much told us you have to stay in the airport till like the next flight, which is in 24 hours. And we're like, all right, we're not gonna do that. And so we got a hotel, thankfully. Uh, this really nice Christian lady at like 2 a.m. was driving us around trying to look for a hotel, and just a lot of blessings came up. We met with the missionaries in Georgia, went out tracting with them, and then we finally got on our flight. And so after like 2 full days of traveling, we finally got to Chile. And I just remember driving from the airport to the CCMA, and I saw like two dead dogs on the road, and I was like shocked because I'm used to seeing like deer, like dead deer, but there are dogs everywhere down there. And so I remember seeing those two dead dogs, and the driver was just flying, and I was just like, "What am I doing?" Like, but I remember the MTC was awesome, incredible experience. It was really hard, but also really rewarding. It's kind of like the mission. But the Chile MTC is so small, but it's cool because you're right there at the temple grounds. And so you are just immersed in this language. I remember for P days, they used to let us go out, and we could like go out for an hour in the city, just take a taxi and go. And it was just like so cool, yet so like terrifying because we would do practices with Chileans, and we're just gringos. We didn't know anything of Spanish, and these Chileans are just speaking so fast, and you're just like, what are they saying? And so I remember just like being in shock kind of for the first couple of days, but it was awesome. I loved it. I remember the first day in my mission field, I met with my trainer. We like took this bus to our mission office. I met with my trainer, and we had that kind of a reunion, a meeting, and then we just left. We got our luggage, we hopped on a bus, and we left our area. Uh, and I just remember like driving down and just seeing graffiti everywhere, just lined with graffiti. Uh, and I remember dropping our bags off and just hitting the pavement and going. And I remember talking with this lady the very first day who just started bawling. And I had no idea why, but I was so determined to just give my heart out to her, give it my all. Even though I couldn't speak Spanish, I didn't understand anything, I didn't know where I was. I really wanted to help her. And it was a cool experience for me. We actually never saw her again. She was just visiting, but I knew that we helped her in some way. And so my first day in the mission field was crazy. I was sick, I was tired. I went during winter time, and it was a good day. Good day, yeah. I love connecting with people, and I think it was hard at first because I wasn't able to communicate with them. I and I wasn't able to connect with them on that level. And so I think I really searched for that love because sometimes it was hard. It was hard getting rejected, or hard just going and contacting, giving it your all, and kind of not seeing any results sometimes. And so that was hard for me to have that love sometimes, but I love them. I can hands down say that I love them because they are just God's children. All of us are. And I think when you're set apart as a missionary, you're there for them. It's not about you. And if you're there for them, if you're focused on them and not on you, and you'll really find that love. And it's not just a love, it's not just like a mutual love, but it's God's love. And you feel that as you're giving it your all for them. And so I love the Chileans, and although it was hard sometimes to find that love, God's love is always there. And so I love them. It's hard to like explain why or how, but I just do because they're my brothers and sisters and they're awesome. So, yeah. I heard it's one of the smallest missions in the world next to Temple Square. I'm not so sure about it, but it is a small mission. Super small. Like I could run it in one day, easy. But it was awesome. It is such a unique experience because you are in Santiago, the city, but you're kind of in the slums. It's kind of the ghetto of it. But it's just so cool to be with those people. I would say the church in Chile is unique because over 20 to 30 years ago, it used to be, I heard it was the highest baptizing mission in the world, the country. And so a ton of people were baptized, and yet a lot of them went inactive. We worked a lot with less actives. We had lists of over 1,000 members in one ward, which ward was like really small. Of over 1,000 members on the record, yet we had like 30 to 40 people attend church. And so we worked a lot in the first half of my mission with kind of the retention of investigators and especially less actives. The second half of my mission, we worked a lot with finding new investigators, the people who were prepared for it. I think it was hard almost for me to see all the people that were inactive because as a missionary, you just give them your all. For everyone who you work with, you're there for them. And when you see them, some people are progressing and it's incredible. And you see others that aren't, and it's so hard because you're there for them. But sometimes they don't want to do it. Sometimes they don't choose to grow. And so I think that was really hard. In regards to Chile in general, everyone was baptized Catholic as a baby. There's a lot of Catholics. I think it's interesting though because you definitely do have a mix of evangelicos, evangelists, and Jehovah's Witnesses, and you see that mixture. You see other missionaries too as well from other religions. Yet what's really cool is that everyone knows about the Mormons, the Mormon missionaries. They respect that. I think you're sometimes in a little dangerous places, yet they respect you because they know of the Mormons. They know that they do good, that they're good people, that they teach of Christ. And so having that fundamental is awesome because people know about them. And I heard that 1 in every 30 people on the streets are a Mormon in Chile. And so that's cool to think about. Wherever you go, there's members. So, yeah, I think my mission, the Santiago South Mission, was so interesting because it was so small. Like for our zone conferences, we would split up. We'd do the north half and the south half, and we would even have just a conference, the whole mission together, because we could do it. But yeah, I served in some pretty good areas, pretty intense. I served in La Pintana, which is the highest crime and murder rate in all of Chile. And so that was fun. Great stories. Yeah, I think through it all, I felt really protected. You have to be careful, of course, but I felt super protected. And the people are so humble. It's such humbling circumstances that they're living in. If I were to go back now, I would have been more bold with my invitations. We're set apart as missionaries to invite people to come unto Christ, and we have to invite them. I wish I would have been more bold. I was pretty bold, but you have that authority. You're set apart as a representative, and you need to challenge the people. They need that push. I think you have to have fun with it. Uh, because if you just do the same thing every day, it gets old and it gets tiring, and if you don't see that success, it's really exhausting. And so I think you have to have fun with it. Mix it up. I remember one time we hopped on the subway and we had those Christmas cards. It was Christmas time. And so it was like light of the world. And we just went on the subway and we handed out 1,000 cards just in one night. We wrote our numbers on the back and we just went and we just handed it out. And that was awesome because people could see us, people could look at this card and remember it, and they loved it because it had Christ on it. And I think that was such an awesome opportunity that I wish you could do like more creative stuff in contacting and working with the members. I think that's so important, especially in Chile. The people, the members mean so much, and you will find members who are just incredible people, and they're willing, they will do everything, drop everything for the missionaries. And if you work with them, it's incredible. It's hard though too, because a lot of them work. A lot of them have their own lives. And so I'd say the main thing about the church is the retention rate in Chile. What we were really looking for were people who were in that conversion process, who really were prepared to accept this gospel and to live it. And they're the people, like, they're out there. You just have to find them, but they're definitely out there. And I think the retention of the members and the members with the new converts is so key and vital in Chile. Because you don't want them to go away. A lot of the people will have testimonies of the missionaries, which is awesome because they have that foundation of missionary work. Yet, if they don't have friends in the gospel or in their chapel, if they don't have that foundation that they're set on of Christ and his gospel, you'll see the people fall away. And I think that's one of the hardest things. So as a missionary, you're there to make sure you're just guiding them towards Christ. And they love the missionaries. They love them, which is awesome. But you need to make sure that they have that testimony of Christ, because the missionaries will go away, but Christ never will. And their reward is there for them. And the missionaries might not be there. They leave. And so they need that foundation. I think that's what I learned a lot of in my wards. So the Santiago Temple, it's located in Pedro de Valdivia, which is a subway station. It's in the center of Chile. It's where the CCM is, the MTC. And so we were lucky enough, because we were so close, to be able to go. We were able to go like once every 2 transfers. And I think it was such a blessing to have that resource, because there are some days when you just needed the temple. It's not just on the mission, but in real life. And so what was awesome was that if a member was going through, or a recent convert was going to go do baptisms or going to go get their endowments, if we got permission from the president, we were able to go with them. And I think that was one of my coolest memories of Chile. I met this family, Familia González Toredo, in my very first area. So I didn't know any Spanish and nothing, but they were in my first area, and we just saw miracles with them. They were so ready for the gospel. Their daughter got baptized. Their son got baptized. The mom, we call her Mama Sandra because she's like our Chilean mom. She just changed completely her life around. And it was so cool to see that throughout the whole years. And that's what I loved, because the mission was so small that you could see them and you would hear about them. And so I could see their progress from the very start to the very end. And I think about 4 weeks before I left for home, I got to go through the temple with Mama Sandra. She got her endowments, and I just remember sitting there with one of my mission companions, and and one of my best friends, and I just remember just being so happy. I still love it today just thinking about it because you were there. I feel like I met them like it was meant to be. That I was called to serve there just for them and they taught me so much. And so to be there in the celestial room with my Chilean mom was just one of the sweetest experiences, and it was like a piece of heaven, and I will never forget that. And so I feel really blessed to be able to have served a mission and to have impacted their lives and they impacted my life greatly. I love them so much, and I think that was so cool for me as a missionary. So the top of it is San Miguel, and the bottom of it is San Bernardo, and there are other stakes in between. I think there's about 8 stakes, if I'm correct. And so the mission office is in San Bernardo, and it's just awesome. San Miguel is a lot more kind of richer, and there's a lot of apartments, all that. And then as you get lower towards the south, you hit a lot more, kind of more poverty, more, it's sad. There's a lot of houses that they're just house upon house upon house. And it's just cement, and everything has fences. They put glass bottles in cement so thieves don't come and break in. And so it's a different world over there. We weren't allowed to wear backpacks. We walked around with a Bible and Book of Mormon in our hands because they would get robbed. And so we didn't really have sectors with bikes. We had a couple of sectors with bikes, but it was pretty much just walking. Living in Santiago is so unique. The people, so they work a ton. They probably work so many hours from the very morning till like 8 or 9 at night sometimes. And so as missionaries in our mission, we woke up at 7:30 because we worked till 10 to 10:30. So we went inside our house at 10 or 10:30 because Chileans work so late. And so that was interesting. The weather during the summer, it is so hot. I feel like there's like a gap in the ozone layer because it gets so hot, and you get like your collar tan line, and it's just great. And then during winter, it can get really cold. The houses are like not the best built. Some of them are plywood, a lot of concrete, and so they're kind of like refrigerators. They've gotten nicer, but I just remember sleeping with like 5 blankets because it would get so cold. And then you go and it rains a ton. So wintertime, when it rains, the streets are like rivers. It's just a giant river. And so you have these boots, and I tried to make it fun because nobody's out and nobody wants to talk. And so you just kind of make it fun. You would splash in puddles or just try your best while it's pouring rain. And so it was fun. Winter definitely is a different time. And so, because it gets dark so early, but it's good. It's good stuff. There's a lot of drugs, and there's a lot of gangs as well, and alcohol. And so where I was at, they would shoot off fireworks, and that means there's like a drug shipment that came in. So you just have fireworks going off, and you hear gunshots. Those are in like the bad areas, and they don't send the sisters to those areas. But I felt so safe. It was just kind of normal. You get used to it. So yeah, there's some risky areas. It's kind of like known in Santiago and all the other missions for being like flight day. That's what it's called, which is like ghetto. They say los más violentos, which is like Chilean slang, like the coolest of the cool. And so Santiago Sur is like known for like how flighty it is, and but it's a great place. It's really, you're safe, you are there for the people, and the people respect you and love you. We used to be able to leave the mission because it was so small. We could go an hour outside of our mission. They changed that rule recently, though, and so we were able to go downtown, and there's a zoo on a hill in the middle of the city. We were able to go to La Costanera, which is the tallest building in South America, and you can go to the top and you can see like the whole city. You couldn't really see it though because Santiago has a ton of pollution. There's like a constant smog, and it's gross. It's awful. But we were able to do really fun things. I remember we did a lot of soccer, futbolito, o bebe, and we did a lot of asados, which are like barbecues, Chilean barbecues. They love their asados. And so for P-Day, we would get together as a zone, and we would play soccer. Every chapel has soccer courts, cement soccer courts. They're really nice, and it's like here in the United States, everyone has gyms, basketball courts. There, soccer. Soccer is life. And so you'll see people representing their jerseys from their favorite teams. And there's Colo Colo and La U. Those are like the rivalry. And then there's the national selection, which is the Chilean national soccer team. And so when a Chilean national soccer team is playing, like the city shuts down. You're outside working, and yet when you hear a goal, oh, the city just goes insane. You just hear it from all around, just people screaming, and they love their soccer, and they are proud of their Chilean soccer team. And so when Argentina or Chile is playing each other, oh, there's no one on the streets. Everyone is watching the game. And so it's awesome. I love soccer, and so it was really cool for me to play with Latinos. And man, they're good at soccer. Their foot skills are incredible. And so it was awesome. We did that mostly for P-Days. And yeah, it was just really fun. You just get together with groups. You can go out to eat. I always had a theme: work hard, play hard. You work hard during the week, and then you play hard on P-Day. And so I never liked to sleep for P-Day. No, I wasn't like that. I always wanted to get out, do something fun. There's some hills you can climb. Cerro Chena, you can climb that. That's like right by the mission office. And so that's kind of fun. And so you just make the best of it because it's so small. You make the best of it though. The holidays are fun. They love their holidays. It's the 18 de septiembre, which is the 18th of September. And it is their Independence Day, and they just throw a huge party for like a week. And so it's so fun because you'll have asados, you'll have these barbecues, you'll be in the street talking with the people, and when they see you, they see these like missionaries, and they just invite you in. And because it's the 18th of September, it's Independence Day. And so kind of everything shuts down, but it's so fun. They have their national dance, La Cueca, which they love, which is fun to see. They eat a lot of meat that day, that whole week. A cultural thing is their soda. They love soda. You will be contacting, and you'll kind of like, you go alo, so you're alo, and they come out, and you'll ask sometimes for a drink of water, a glass of water, because it's so hot, and you just want a glass of water. And they're really nice, and they do it, but they come out with this glass of soda, and you're just like dying for water, but they come out with soda, And so Coca-Cola is like their drink. They love Coca-Cola and bread. So for like every meal, I swear, it's Coca-Cola and bread, uh, which is just a Chilean thing. They have what's called once, which I love once. And so they do it at like, I'd say 9 or 10 at night. When they get home from work, they all get together and they have once. And it's kind of like a tea party. They have their bread with their cheese and their ham. They have soda. People drink their tea. And it's just a time to, it's like a tea time. And so I loved onces. The people were really nice about giving us onces. And it's just a good way to connect with them. Just sit down and have once with them. So yeah, that was a culture thing that I loved, and I actually miss it, and I want to start it back up here. So Chilean food. Oh man, where do I start? There are these things called completos, which are like super famous in Chile. They're these hot dogs, which are just like foot-long hot dogs. And they're so good. It has the hot dog, and it has avocado, and then tomato, and they put a ton of mayonnaise on it. And so they're so good, and I miss them so much. They have churrascos, which are really good. It's kind of like a hamburger. Those are really good. Those are kind of like the typical like things that you'll find on the streets. French fries, and so completos. They're known for their completos. And so there's this place, there's a shop called Corbatas, and they have completos, which are like 1 feet to 2 feet long, just huge. And those are fun to get, and they're really cheap too, so it's nice. What else about the food? So the typical like food that I ate the most is rice and chicken. And I was not the biggest fan near the end of my mission after 2 years of eating that, but they eat a lot of rice and a lot of chicken. Their salad is, they have lettuce, like chopped up, with lemon, and that is so good. I love that. For desserts, they say postre, and a typical postre, is like a fruit. So they give you like a banana or like a yogurt. So that's kind of nice, because after like a heavy meal, they just give you a little fruit. Something about what they always do is oil. They add oil to everything. It's incredible. You'll have like this beautiful salad, and then they just come with a bottle of oil and just dump it over it. And so there's a lot of oil there. They cook with a ton of oil. That's okay. It's Chilean. And I had cow stomach one time. That was interesting. Very interesting. What else did I have? There's this soup that they have, which is like the blood of a sheep, which is very famous. It's very famous in southern Chile. And man, there's this thing called flan. It's a dessert. It's very, it's a weird texture. It's kind of like jello, but it's like caramel. And so they love their flan. And they have a ton of flan, arroz con leche, which is rice with milk. And yeah, it's just so different, yet you get used to it, and you just eat it. So they have these things, almacenes, almacenes. I'm not sure how to say it. Shoot. They have these little shops. And they're everywhere. They're on every corner. They're just part of people's houses. They just start these little shops. And you go and you can buy whatever. And so they have shops everywhere, and we would always get what's called penguinos, which are really good. They're like ding dongs here. And so they're like these chocolate cupcakes, and they're called penguinos, and they're really good. And We'd get those. At nighttime, sometimes we would get completos if we were hungry. While we were walking home, we would go get some completos. Uh, and there's just a bunch of little things. I always snacked on Oreos. There's Oreos at the grocery stores, and I'd always have my little milk and Oreos at the end of the night, just to kind of celebrate, you know. The language is not Spanish. It is Castellano, and Chileans love. They're so proud of how bad their Spanish is. It is so unique. And you'll get a lot of peoples, because in Chile, there's a lot of people from other countries that come to Chile. And Chilean Spanish, everybody just knows when they hear Chilean. They add po at the end of every word, like sipo. And they just add po just because it's fun. And they just have all these sayings, cachai, and they have a lot of sayings with animals that don't really make sense, but the Chileans love it. And so pretty much the vocabulary was filled with just phrases and dichos, and it was so interesting. Learning especially was so hard too, because you're not only learning Spanish, but you're learning like Chilean dichos and trying to understand, and it can be really frustrating. I remember being really stressed because I was here as a missionary and I wanted to help these people and talk to them, yet I couldn't. And so I was like, I don't understand you, but you just try your best, and every day take it step by step, and you get it. You like wake up one day and you're like, whoa, I can like understand these people and communicate and be expressive even. And it's really fun when you get that language, because that's when your mission just goes. And so it's awesome. But Chilean Spanish, oh man, it's rough. But I love it. I feel like I'm like a Chilean, so I'm proud of it. I'm proud of my bad Spanish. Okay, they say, so it's in Spanish it's ¿Cómo estás?, which is how are you? But Chileans, they don't really pronunciate their S's, and they also say ¿Cómo estáis?. And so they say ¿Cómo estáis?, and it's like, I don't know, it's just Chilean. They love it. And then what else do they say? It's just so unique. Like they say like buena, which is like, oh, awesome, like buena. And they say chorizo, like I don't know how to explain chorizo. It's like the most awesome, like buena chorizo. And it's so weird, but I love it. Yeah, they just don't pronunciate their S's, and they are proud of how bad they speak, and they're okay with it. And so as a missionary, you just go along with it. And I remember in my first class back at BYU, I was in a Spanish class for returned missionaries, and I just remember standing up, and my teacher, we had to introduce ourselves, and I said that I served in Chile, and I just remember my teacher just saying, oh gosh, like, oh no, we have a Chilean. So everybody knows, but go Chile. So okay, I got out there, finished the MTC in Chile. We went to the mission field. I was so excited. I was nervous. I got my companion. It was great. I finished training. I got with my second companion, who was actually in my same group, and we were opening another sector as well, and so it was very stressful. It was a very hard time for the both of us, because we didn't know Spanish, and yet we were just giving it our all. And then I went to a different ward. It was kind of a more humble ward. I had an amazing companion. And then I got to train a Colombian, which was awesome. I learned a lot of Spanish, and also personally. I went to a different area after that, and I think that was one of the hardest parts of my mission. Spiritually, physically, emotionally, it was so hard. but prayers were heard, and I got through it. And I'm one of those missionaries now that and Mormons who say I'm grateful for trials. I never thought I would say that, but I got through it. And then I think after that experience, that was one of the lowest points of my life because it was just so emotionally hard. God just lifted me up. I got to train again, which is so fun. It was so fun, and I think months 11 to month 16 are just like the most incredible months of a missionary's life. Because you know the language, you know how the mission works, how to teach, and you just go, and you're just kind of striding, and it's so fun. You're working hard, and then near the end, I think I didn't realize how emotionally hard it would be, and I didn't realize that. I thought I would just kind of coast down, but God definitely had other plans, and it was just like a roller coaster. It was kind of like a whirlwind in the last 4 months. But in the end, it was incredible. I got to finish with incredible people. And I just remember at the airport, I didn't cry my whole mission for 2 years. I never cried. I'm not a huge crier. And then I don't know what hit me at the airport, but members came to say goodbye to us, and you're with your mission president and his wife and your group, and it just kind of hit me how much I love these people. And that was kind of like a bittersweet moment because I knew that I wouldn't see some of them ever again. Some of the people that I taught. But it was just like a moment of pure love and kind of Heavenly Father just kind of saying good job. You did it. You did your best. And so that's what I felt, and I just bawled. And I did not expect that at all, but I was just bawling at the airport because I loved him, and I tried my best, and I know that God knows that, and I'm grateful for that. And so that was kind of my mission in 2 years. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of hard times, a lot of happiness. It was the best 2 years for me, so I'm really grateful for it, and I loved it, and I love speaking about it, so it's awesome. I would say is the winter time with the rain. There was one day where it rained for 3 days, and they shut off everything. They shut off all the water, and so you have to save up water. And so our house actually got flooded, and it got a leak in the ceiling, and we were living 6 missionaries in one house, and it was crazy. So the rain. So I got bit by a dog, and I had to get rabies shots. There are dogs everywhere, so I got bit by a wild dog, and got my rabies shots, but that's normal. So expect to get bitten by a dog. So yep. So we were walking home, and this dude had this huge dog on this little leash, and the dog was just going crazy. And so me and my conf went around it, and all of a sudden I looked down, and there's this huge dog on my leg, and it ripped through my pants. It was insane, and I was bleeding, and I was just okay. It didn't hit me that I just got bit by a dog. But we went home. I had to get rabies shots just in case, and yeah, it was fun. Good little experience. I wouldn't recommend it, but I still have the scars, so that's cool. It was this, I call it a bear. It was huge. It was this huge black dog. 'Cause they're just everywhere down there, and the people put sweaters on them during the winter time. They treat them like their pets. They just give them like random food. They leave food outside of their gates for wild dogs, and they love their dogs, so, but they're just everywhere. I think one of them, and this is just such a small thing, was we had this one lady who we were having a family home meeting with. They were less active, and she was going to teach a lesson. And I just remember she asked us what she should share, because she didn't know. And me and my companion, we just said, whatever you need right now is probably what other people need. And we showed her some things, some material that she could use. And we came back, we went and worked, and then we came back for the family home meeting, and she shared this incredible message that just everyone was crying. The Spirit was so strong, and she thanked us in the end because that's exactly what she needed to hear, because she didn't realize her worth of how she could affect and impact other people's lives. And so it's something so simple, yet I think the simple things are some of the greatest moments. In your mission, you'll have such powerful, incredible spiritual moments, but there's also a ton of little things which I wish I would have appreciated more, and especially written down. I wish I'd have written more of those moments down, because I'm back and they do go away, and I do forget about them, but they're there. So, yeah, it's awesome. I miss it. I miss being a missionary. So, I would bring a pen drive. A lot of missionaries use videos. They listen to music, EFY music, Motab, while they study. Bring a pen drive. I didn't know that. And so I had my mom send me one, because they use it a lot. And it's good because there are great videos to show the people. Make sure that your winter coat is sturdy and good, because it gets cold. And I would say during summer, make sure that your shirts are very lightweight. So I would get short sleeve shirts and long sleeve shirts, and also bring sweaters and scarves, hats for the winter time, because you'll get cold. So I think one of my companions that I had was very hard. That was probably the most challenging time for me, because we were just polar opposites from different cultures. He was 25, I was 19 at the time. And I think he just struggled a lot. And so it was hard for me. It was really hard. I was in this new sector, I had a new comp, I was trying to help him, and I think with him I learned what service is, because man, it was hard. It was probably the hardest time of my life, and it was hard to serve and to teach the people when you were struggling. And so I learned to serve him, even though at first I admit that I didn't want to, because it was so hard. But I learned that you gotta serve him, and if there's not the Spirit there between your companionship, the people will feel that, and you can't teach with the Spirit, and that's really what matters. The missionaries won't impact the people. It's the Spirit that they'll remember their whole lives. So one of the hardest moments was with that companion. Yeah, I learned to love him through service, and I'm grateful for it now. Even though it was the hardest time of my life, I'm really grateful for it, and I know it's going to help me in the future. So I got a knife pulled on me. It was just like in the afternoon at 4 p.m. and we were just walking, and this dude came up and he put a knife right up to me and like looked me in the eyes, and I just kind of like stared at him back. I was really calm. I probably should have been like freaking out, but I was really calm, and he just like looked me like deeply in the eyes, and he just walked away. And so I like turned to my comp and I was like, what just happened? And it was like in broad daylight and that happened. And so that doesn't happen like ever. And so that was just like a crazy experience for me. But I was safe. I'm here now. And it was crazy. So yeah. Oh, I just remember whenever it would rain, people are just inside and you're outside, you're trying to find people. And there was this dog that followed us, and we named him. He was like our little friend, and you just like do the best that you can. It's all about your attitude. And so that wasn't like funny, but it was fun just to like have this dog follow us for like literally 9 hours, like the whole day. And he was our buddy. And so he would like protect us too from other dogs. And so that was just like memorable. But yeah. I feel like as missionaries, I feel like we get so stressed uh, about the work and we kind of forget all the small, beautiful moments of it. I think personally, me, I put a lot of stress on myself in the very beginning and throughout my mission, even. And what I learned is that as missionaries, we are just there to serve them and to try our best. And I think we're just like planting seeds everywhere. I think a lot of missionaries put a lot of stress on themselves, and it can get really unhealthy. And but we're servants of God, of our Heavenly Father, and we're just planting seeds left and right, which is awesome that He trusts us enough to do that. And maybe those seeds will bloom in a month or maybe in 10 years. But because of that seed, it all happened. And so I feel like we need to put less stress on ourselves and realize how much God knows us and who He sees us as. And as missionaries, just keep planting those seeds no matter what. Wherever you go, you're just spreading goodness, which is incredible. It's such a blessing to do that. And I think I love that the most, of sharing happiness and giving people hope. So I think a life lesson that I learned would be how much God knows us individually and how He hears us. I think that is one of the most powerful lessons that I learned. It's something so simple, yet it impacted me greatly. And I think I learned so many lessons. You just learn so much. It's like 20 years worth of life experience into 2 years. And I can see that. And I think I learned that change is real. I saw other people change and how much the gospel helped them. And I think I changed too. And it's awesome. And I think I'm just grateful for it, mostly, for all the life experiences that I did learn, and how awesome our Heavenly Father is towards us as His children, and not just me, but everyone. And so to have that love to feel that love, and to share that love, that's really what I learned, what it's all about. Missionaries that are going to the Chile Santiago South Mission, you guys are just going to love it. It is awesome. You are going to change so much. You're going to learn so much. And you're going to be with some of the most humble people. It really is just, it's awesome. I'm grateful for it, so grateful for it. And the decision to serve a mission, it really changed me. And I hope you guys know how much God needs you, and And there are people waiting for you. There totally are. I truly believe that. Who need you, and they need your testimony and your strength. And there are companions who need you, and you're going to learn so much from them. And it is just incredible that God knows you and He needs you to be on His team. And it's a huge team, not just in your mission, but we're a team all over the world. And for the missionaries that maybe are struggling or feeling tired or doubting, whatever, just know that you will get through it, and how much God loves you. I am grateful to have felt that love and to give it back to others. And so keep pushing through. It'll be worth it. It totally will. Just focus on the basics, and there's a plan. And be happy. Life is so good. And being a missionary is awesome. Even though it's hard, it's awesome. So be happy, enjoy it, and soak it in. And that would be my advice. And just love it. Love it, live it. It's awesome.